Okay, so today, this is Dr. RJB again, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about stress. Now, I get patients in the past who would come into my office and they would say, I want something for my stress. Um, they want some sort of a sedative or whatever to take care of their stress problems. Um, and the thing about stress is it's not about how much stress you have, it's how you cope with it. Um, Probably one of the most stressful jobs is that airline controller who has to land planes and not make mistakes so that the planes crash. So he has to keep juggling all kinds of planes in the air, know where they're all positioned. Very, very stressful. But if they're focused on their job, you hear about air traffic controllers suddenly winding up in the loony bin because they got so stressed out that they went crazy. Not going to happen. Same thing for firemen. Going into a burning building and trying to search for victims is extremely stressful. And what if you find a victim who's just died? I mean, seeing a dead body, I mean, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. So firemen have to deal with stress during their job. Um, can you imagine you're sleeping and all of a sudden the bell rings and you got to get dressed quickly and get on the fire truck and go to your fire? I mean, wow. I mean, that has to be stressful. I'm a doctor. I had to deal with some stresses, of course. Nurses have to deal with stresses, but the whole point is how do you deal with them? Now, in my case, because yes, I did have to deal with a lot of stress. I found that exercise was very helpful in dealing with the stress. Um, uh, I think that if I didn't exercise at the time when I was in medical school, I doubt that I would have been able to make it through. It was an extremely stressful situation, and I did whatever I could to try to relieve myself of the stress. Um, Initially, um, I remember I did yoga at a yoga class, and it was great. When I was taking that yoga class, I was so relaxed I could have fallen asleep. It was great. I felt fantastic. The problem I had with the yoga class was the next morning I was stressed out again. Um, so that's when I found that exercise did a little bit better job than yoga meditation. I found that with exercise, because I could do it every day, I could keep the stress away for a longer period of time. I enjoyed being outdoors in the sunlight, in the fresh air. Oh, that's how I kind of dealt with the stress that I had. Um, Again, some people find that the meditation or the weight training or whatever is their reliever of stress, and so that's what they'll do. Now, uh, sometimes people can deal with their stress by, kind of thinking away. I used to use the example in my practice of the duck letting the water roll off his back. The duck doesn't get wet with the water. Uh, the duck remains dry, even though it's sitting in the water, and it might even rain and have the water on top of him. But because the duck is waterproof, it allows the water to roll off its back, and he doesn't absorb the water. In other words, just like you don't have to necessarily absorb the stress. People who are in the medical profession deal with the stress at work. They go home, no more stress. Um, and we have a way of, basically dealing with those stress, that we come across by focusing our attention on our job. So years ago, there was an earthquake in Mexico. I don't remember the year, but I remember that they were calling people to help out with this earthquake. And there was a woman who was on a radio show, and she was a nurse from Chicago. who I think worked in either the emergency room or the intensive care unit, and she was going to go down to Mexico to help out. And so the interviewer said, "So, what do you think about going down there?" She said, "Oh yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to probably see a lot of trauma, help out with dealing with all the crush injuries and you know injuries to the arms and legs, and it should be great. Lots of good medical things going on down there." And the interviewer was kind of taken back and said, "Well, what about, all the tragedy?" And the nurse said, "Oh, yes, the tragedy is going to be very tragic down there too, you know." And I thought to myself, here is somebody who is so into their field that they are excited about going to a earthquake and all the learning that they're going to be receiving by dealing with the trauma of the patients, but forgot that those people are also human beings. Um, uh, so, it was a way that they were dealing with the stressful situation that they were going to be going into. So that's kind of my deal about stress.